The gym was buzzing with energy. Fighters were sparring, coaches shouting instructions, and the sound of gloves hitting punching bags echoed through the room. Among the crowd, one man walked in calmly, almost unnoticed at first, Steven Seagal. His presence had a quiet authority, the kind that made people instinctively step aside. But not everyone respected that kind of calm confidence. One boxing coach, known for his arrogance, immediately noticed him. Instead of greeting him politely, the coach smirked, crossed his arms, and made a comment loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You think you can just walk in here and impress anyone?" The coach sneered, his tone dripping with arrogance. He didn't know who he was dealing with. To him, this was just another opportunity to show off, to assert dominance over someone he thought was out of their league. Seagal didn't react immediately. He simply observed, his calm eyes scanning the room. The crowd began to notice the tension. Something in the way he stood, completely relaxed yet attentive, made people stop mid-conversation. There was a sense that the situation could escalate, or that something unexpected was about to happen. The coach, however, didn't wait. He stepped closer, pointing a finger, tried to intimidate Seagal with aggressive body language. "You think your movies make you tough?" he challenged. His voice echoed through the gym, forcing some people to stop what they were doing and watch. Seagal tilted his head slightly, a small, almost imperceptible smile forming. His voice was calm when he finally spoke, not loud, not confrontational, but firm enough to hold the attention of everyone around. "I don't need to prove anything," he said. "I'm here to watch, learn, and train. Respect works better than threats." For a moment, the arrogant coach froze. People in the gym started murmuring, exchanging glances, sensing the tension rising. Phones began appearing, recording the unfolding drama. The crowd could feel it. This wasn't just a regular confrontation. Something big was about to happen. The coach thought he could intimidate Steven Seagal, but no one expected what would happen in the next few seconds. The camera pans over the anxious crowd, the coach's defiant stance, and Seagal's calm expression. The stage was set, and the entire gym was about to witness a moment that no one would forget. The coach's arrogance only grew as Steven Seagal remained calm. He puffed out his chest, towering over the martial artist, and spoke louder, hoping his words would dominate the room. "I don't care what you've done in movies. This is real life. Let's see how tough you really are." Seagal didn't flinch. His calm presence seemed to make the gym itself hold its breath. People nearby stopped their workouts, turning to watch the confrontation. Some whispered to their friends, "Who is this guy?" while others raised their phones, instinctively recording. The tension was electric. The coach stepped closer, his face now inches away from Seagal's. He tried to use his size and shouting to intimidate him. But Seagal remained still, composed, and completely unreactive to the provocation. Every second that passed made the coach's frustration grow. "You're just lucky this isn't a real fight," the coach said, his voice sharp and aggressive. He wanted to see a reaction, a sign of fear. The gym was quiet now, the usual sounds of punching bags and chatter replaced by the intense focus of the crowd. Seagal finally spoke, his voice calm but firm, cutting through the tension like a knife. "I'm not here to fight anyone. Respect is stronger than force. But I won't allow disrespect either." The coach paused, unsure how to respond. This wasn't the reaction he had expected. He had assumed Seagal would either back down or argue back aggressively. Instead, Seagal's quiet confidence seemed to hold an invisible authority over the room. Whispers spread through the crowd. Some recognized Seagal immediately, others sensed something unusual about his presence. The air in the gym grew thick with anticipation. Everyone could feel that the next few moments could decide the outcome, but how, no one knew yet. Phones were now recording from every angle. The tension created a silent agreement among the bystanders. Everyone was witnessing a moment that might go viral. Some even spoke quietly to each other. "Who's going to make the first move? Before the next move happens. Where are you watching this from? Comment your city or country below. Let's see how far this story reaches." The coach's attempts to provoke Seagal continued. He tried sarcasm. He tried humor. He even mocked some of Seagal's past movie moves. But Seagal didn't react. His calm gaze met the coach's every time, unwavering. Slowly, the coach's confidence began to crack. People in the crowd noticed it. The arrogance that had seemed so strong a minute ago was starting to falter. Seagal's composure had a subtle effect. The more the coach tried to dominate, the more he revealed his insecurity. The tension was almost unbearable. Every person watching felt the mental and emotional weight of the confrontation. Finally, after several tense moments, Seagal shifted his stance slightly, a gentle movement that seemed insignificant but drew the entire room's attention. The coach, still aggressive, leaned in, thinking he had the upper hand. That was the moment the crowd held its collective breath. Something was about to change. The arrogant coach thought he was in control, but in just seconds, everything he believed about this moment would shatter. The gym had gone completely silent. Even the usual sounds of jumping ropes and punching bags faded into the background as the arrogant boxing coach squared off against Steven Seagal. The tension between them was palpable, like a taut rope ready to snap. Every eye in the room was glued to the two men. The coach's confidence, which had seemed unshakable just moments ago, now flickered. He tried to regain control by stepping closer, towering over Seagal and pointing his finger. "I don't care who you are. I've trained champions. You think your movies make you tough? Let's see how you handle the real deal." Seagal remained calm, his hands relaxed at his sides, his posture steady. He didn't step forward. He didn't shout back. Instead, he let his presence speak for him. The silence itself became a force that drew attention, and slowly, everyone in the gym began leaning in, sensing that something extraordinary was unfolding. The coach, frustrated that Seagal was not reacting as he expected, raised his voice and started pacing. "You think you could just come in here and act like you're untouchable? I've seen bigger men than you crumble under pressure." Seagal's eyes followed the coach, unblinking, measuring every movement. Then, in his calm, quiet voice, he said, "Pressure doesn't define a person. Respect does. And arrogance doesn't make you strong. It only reveals your weaknesses." The crowd murmured. Some people whispered to each other, amazed at Seagal's composed response. Others began filming, instinctively knowing this confrontation was something worth capturing. Phones were now pointed from every angle, and the room's tension was so high that you could almost hear a pin drop. The coach, sensing the crowd's attention shifting toward Seagal, grew even more aggressive. He gestured wildly and tried to mock Seagal's past actions in films. "You fight on the screen, not here. This is real life. Show me what you've got." But Seagal didn't move aggressively. He simply raised an eyebrow and shifted slightly, his calm demeanor sending a silent message. "I am not intimidated. I am in control." At that moment, the coach overstepped. He leaned in, closer than necessary, his voice sharp with frustration. "You think you could just stare me down and nothing will happen? You're asking for trouble." The crowd gasped, some stepping back instinctively, feeling the rising intensity. There was a collective tension that made every viewer feel like they were holding their breath. People began commenting to each other quietly. "He's pushing too far. Something's about to happen. If you were standing here, what would you do? Comment below. Would you step in or watch this unfold?" Seagal finally shifted his weight slightly, a subtle but commanding movement. The coach misread it, thinking Seagal was preparing to react aggressively. He leaned forward even more, tried to assert dominance, but that only gave the room a sense of suspense. The audience could feel that this was the moment where the arrogant coach might realize he had miscalculated. Meanwhile, the crowd's energy was building. Phones recorded every second. Whispers of recognition and curiosity spread through the gym. Some people began to notice the unmistakable aura of Seagal. His calm but commanding presence made it clear he was not an ordinary man, and that realization started to mentally trap the audience. What happens next could be unbelievable. The coach, now fully tense and frustrated, shouted one final challenge. "I've faced fighters far stronger than you. Show me who you really are." Seagal's response was calm but precise. "Strength is not shown through threats. True power is shown through restraint." A collective gasp ran through the crowd. The coach's arrogance was beginning to falter as the weight of Seagal's words sank in. The room was trapped in the tension of anticipation. No one knew what would happen next, and everyone's eyes were glued to the confrontation. The coach thought he was in control, but the next moment would shock everyone in the gym, including him. The gym was frozen in anticipation. Every eye was on Steven Seagal and the arrogant boxing coach. The coach had spent the past few minutes trying to dominate the room with his words, gestures, and aggression. But now his confidence was beginning to crack. The calm aura around Seagal made it clear. This wasn't just a casual confrontation. Something big was about to happen. The coach straightened his posture, attempting to regain control. "Enough talk. Show me what you've got," he barked, his voice echoing off the walls. He wanted action, proof that he was in charge. But Seagal didn't step forward. He didn't shout. He didn't raise a finger in anger. He simply stood, observing, his presence commanding respect without any aggression. A hush fell over the crowd. Some spectators exchanged glances, sensing the coach's growing uncertainty. Others raised their phones, filming every second, whispering, "This is insane. I can't believe this is happening." Even the trainers and fighters around them paused their own routines, watching as the tension reached a boiling point. Seagal finally moved, but it was subtle. He shifted his weight slightly, pivoted his stance, and extended a calm, almost casual gesture that showed confidence without confrontation. The coach misread it entirely, thinking Seagal was preparing to strike. He leaned in, chest forward, trying to show dominance, his voice raising again. "You think a calm stance will intimidate me? I've faced men bigger than you," the coach shouted, his tone laced with frustration and disbelief. But Seagal's calm was magnetic. He didn't flinch, didn't shout, didn't react aggressively. Instead, he spoke softly but firmly. True strength isn't loud. It's measured. It's patient. And it commands respect without demanding it. The crowd murmured in astonishment. Some shook their heads, amazed at how composed Seagal remained. Others whispered to their friends, "He's not just a martial artist. There's something different about him." Phones continued rolling, capturing the entire scene. The tension in the room was now almost tangible. Every spectator felt it in their own chest. The coach's arrogance was on the verge of crumbling, and the crowd was witnessing it live. The coach, sensing that the room was no longer on his side, attempted one more display of bravado. He raised his fists and took a step closer, tried to look threatening, hoping to provoke a reaction. But Seagal stayed perfectly calm. His eyes met the coach's, unblinking, unwavering. That silent gaze carried the weight of experience, skill, and authority, and it began to mentally trap the coach, forcing him to reconsider his actions. At that moment, a few spectators whispered, recognizing Seagal from his films, his public appearances, and martial arts reputation. "Isn't that Steven Seagal?" one murmured. The revelation spread quietly, but the coach had not realized who he was confronting yet. The audience now understood the magnitude of the moment, increasing the suspense exponentially. The coach tried to regain control with words, "Don't think I'm scared of you. You're just a movie star." Seagal's response was calm, concise, and piercing. "A title doesn't define you. Actions and respect do. And right now, your actions are speaking louder than words for everyone to see." The effect was immediate. The coach's face tightened, his bravado faltering. The crowd felt the shift. The tension that had been building for minutes reached a new level. Everyone could sense that the moment of shock, the moment that would change the dynamic completely, was coming. The coach thought he was in control, but in the next moments, everything he believed about this confrontation would collapse, and the gym would witness a reaction they would never forget. The gym was tense. Every person inside felt it, the thick, almost tangible atmosphere of confrontation. The arrogant boxing coach had spent the last several minutes trying to dominate the room with words, gestures, and threats. But now, the air had shifted. Seagal's calm presence was no longer just mysterious. It was commanding. The coach, frustrated by the lack of reaction, clenched his fists. He stepped closer, attempting to assert dominance physically. "You think staring at me will scare me?" he shouted. "Show me what you've got." Seagal didn't move aggressively. He didn't shout. He simply positioned himself slightly, his body relaxed but his posture strong. He let his gaze meet the coach's, steady and unyielding. Every eye in the room followed him, feeling the intensity of that calm authority. Then Seagal spoke, his voice quiet but firm, every word measured. "Strength isn't shown through threats. Real power isn't loud. It's steady, patient, and it commands respect naturally." The coach paused, his confidence beginning to crumble. The crowd could feel it. Every whisper, every nervous shuffle, every subtle movement in the room added to the suspense. People were recording every second, whispering, "Something's about to happen." You can feel it. The coach tried again, raising his voice and gesturing aggressively. "Don't tell me about respect. I've trained fighters stronger than you. You're just a movie star. Let's see you prove anything." Seagal didn't respond with anger. Instead, he slowly and deliberately extended one hand in a calm gesture, signaling patience. He shifted his weight slightly, demonstrating perfect balance, control, and awareness. Movements so subtle, yet so commanding that the crowd instinctively held its breath. At that moment, the coach realized something. This wasn't a confrontation he could win through arrogance. Every step he took to assert himself seemed weaker, less meaningful, in the presence of Seagal's calm mastery. He began to sweat, his gestures becoming less precise, his words faltering. The audience sensed it. The coach's power was collapsing. Seagal's voice cut through the tension again. "You may think strength is about intimidation, but true strength is about self-control. You're letting anger guide you, and that never wins respect." The crowd reacted immediately. Some people gasped, others whispered in awe, and a few nodded knowingly. Phones recorded the scene from every angle, capturing the coach's shrinking confidence and Seagal's commanding presence. The coach tried one last desperate attempt at bravado. He raised his fist again and took a step forward. But this time, Seagal shifted his stance subtly, demonstrating readiness without aggression. The coach froze, realizing he had misjudged the situation entirely. The air around him seemed heavier, as if the gym itself recognized who held the authority. The psychological weight of Seagal's calm presence was overwhelming. The coach's arrogance had not only failed to intimidate, it had trapped him mentally. He realized that every aggressive move he had made only highlighted his own insecurity, while Seagal's composure made him look foolish in front of the entire gym. People in the crowd whispered excitedly, filming every second. "Did you see that? He's completely in control." The coach has no idea what hit him. Seagal didn't gloat. He didn't need to. The silence, the calm, and the undeniable authority he projected said it all. The coach's face tightened, shoulders slumping slightly, and the audience could see the first signs of regret forming in real time. The coach thought he could dominate the situation, but in the next moments, his arrogance would crumble completely, and what the audience witnessed next would be unforgettable. The gym felt almost frozen in time. The arrogant boxing coach, who had strutted in moments ago, full of confidence, now looked visibly shaken. Every person in the room sensed the shift. A quiet, undeniable authority had taken over. Steven Seagal didn't need to raise his voice or make a dramatic move. His calm composure, his experience, and the way he carried himself were enough to mentally trap the coach and capture the audience's full attention. The coach tried to regain some control, pacing slightly, attempting to use words again. "I've faced real fighters. You're just, he faltered mid-sentence. The words died in his throat because he realized, painfully, that nothing he said would change the moment. The tension that had been building for minutes was now focused entirely on his realization. He had misjudged the man in front of him. Seagal stepped forward slightly, just enough to close the space without being threatening. The crowd could feel the subtle shift in dominance. Every person watching instinctively leaned in, holding their breath. Some whispered, "This is unbelievable, look at the calmness." Others raised their phones higher, capturing every second of what was unfolding. Then Seagal spoke, his voice calm but commanding, cutting through the silence like a knife. "Arrogance can make you blind. Confidence without respect is dangerous. You can intimidate some people, but not those who understand the value of restraint. The words hit the coach like a shockwave. His eyes widened. He took a small step back. The arrogant posture that had defined him moments ago now crumpled under the weight of Seagal's quiet authority. His jaw tightened. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. Every person in the gym could see it, the moment of regret forming in real time. The audience erupted in subtle reactions, whispers, gasps, a few quiet cheers. Phones were capturing the coach's expression as it transformed from arrogance to disbelief, from defiance to humility. The shift was mental, emotional, and complete. The coach had thought he controlled the situation, but now he was completely exposed. Seagal didn't raise a hand, didn't make a dramatic show of power. He simply let the moment speak. His calm, controlled demeanor contrasted perfectly with the coach's unraveling arrogance. The crowd sensed it. No physical confrontation was needed. The lesson was clear. Humility and respect always outweigh arrogance. Some spectators, recognizing Seagal's reputation, quietly whispered among themselves, "That's Steven Seagal." Their awe and admiration added to the emotional weight in the room. But Seagal didn't use his fame. He didn't gloat. Instead, he delivered the quietest, most powerful lesson. The coach's regret was real, and the crowd could feel it viscerally. Have you ever seen someone instantly regret their actions? Type yes or no in the comments. What would you have done in this situation? The coach slowly lowered his hands, his face showing the full weight of realization. He avoided eye contact, a subtle acknowledgement of the truth he had been forced to face. The audience could see every micro-expression, frustration giving way to humility, arrogance replaced with reflection. The crowd began to clap softly at first, then louder, not for Seagal's performance, but for the lesson in restraint, authority, and respect. People started nodding, whispering, and commenting to each other. The energy shifted from tension to awe, as if everyone had just witnessed a live demonstration of true mastery, not in aggression, but in calm, measured authority. Seagal's final words hung in the air. Respect is earned through patience, understanding, and humility. Power without respect is nothing. The coach nodded slowly, a silent acknowledgement of his mistake. The gym's atmosphere shifted completely. Where moments ago there had been tension and arrogance, now there was a quiet sense of balance, respect, and resolution. The gym witnessed an unforgettable moment, one that would be talked about long after the cameras stopped rolling. And when the story went viral, millions would see what true composure and respect really look like. The tension in the gym had completely dissipated. What had started as a confrontation had transformed into a powerful lesson in humility, respect, and restraint. The arrogant boxing coach, who had moments ago been full of bravado and aggression, now stood silently, reflecting on what had just happened. His expression told the story of regret, and the audience could feel it. Everyone present had witnessed the shift in real time. Seagal remained calm, his posture relaxed, his eyes scanning the room. He didn't gloat, didn't mock the coach, and he didn't need to. The silence and respect from the crowd said more than words ever could. His presence alone had delivered the lesson. Strength isn't about intimidation, and power isn't about showing off. True authority comes from patience, composure, and respect for others. The audience began clapping, first softly, then louder as the reality of the moment sank in. Phones continued recording, capturing not only Seagal's composure, but also the coach's undeniable shift from arrogance to reflection. People whispered, "That was incredible, the way he stayed calm, the way he handled that." Others nodded in agreement, recognizing the value of the lesson more than the spectacle. Some spectators approached the coach afterward, offering quiet words of encouragement. The message was clear. Everyone makes mistakes, but humility and learning from them are what truly define a person. The coach slowly nodded, acknowledging the lesson without needing to speak it aloud. The gym had transformed, from tension and conflict to understanding and respect. Meanwhile, the videos that had been recorded began spreading online. Within hours, clips of the confrontation surfaced on social media. Millions of viewers around the world watched as Seagal's calm authority turned the situation completely around. Comments poured in, praising the lesson in humility, restraint, and respect. Many expressed amazement at how the situation unfolded, noting that it was not a display of aggression, but of true strength. The coach's regret became a teaching moment, not just for those in the gym, but for anyone watching. People discussed how arrogance can blind someone, and how calm confidence can influence others without a single harsh word. Seagal's handling of the situation inspired viewers to reflect on their own behavior and the importance of patience, respect, and composure in everyday life. If you believe no one should be intimidated by arrogance and that respect always wins, type respect in the comments. Share this video to inspire others, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. As the gym returned to normal, people continued talking about what they had just witnessed. Trainers, fighters, and spectators alike carried with them the memory of the day an arrogant coach learned a powerful lesson, one that didn't need violence or aggression, just calm composure and integrity. The story went viral, shared by millions across the globe. The coach's regret, Seagal's quiet authority, and a lesson about respect and humility became a conversation worldwide. What had started as a confrontation ended as a defining moment, a reminder that true strength is measured not by force, but by the ability to remain composed, to act with integrity, and to command respect without demanding it. And for everyone who watched, the message was clear. Humility, patience, and respect always prevail.